Today we're going to be talking about the rise of the master within two. Concept of the master within, the inner self, or the divine within, is central to the Rosicrucian way of life, which is unique yet universal for each student. We'll continue to explore this topic through a series of questions. Does the master within guide and attract us to people and places for us to learn and to serve? Do our encounters with the master within shake and transform our very foundation as a person? What is the relationship to the spiritual philosophies of the ages? How do we work and unite with the master within? In this manner, we'll continue to explore Rosicrucian laws and principles and increase our well-being and capacity for service. These presentations are intended to increase our enthusiasm for the study of life, the study of mysticism, and our Rosicrucian studies that we do weekly in our home sanctums. Help bring this out, we'll have a work of art that'll show you, and also we'll do a period of meditation because the Rosicrucians are very practical. We like to have first-hand experiences of Rosicrucian laws and principles, and particularly in this case of the master within. Now you see before you now a work that is entitled Dharana. It's by Frederick Horseman Varley, Canadian artist, painted in around 1932, oil on canvas, about 34 inches by 40 inches at the Art Gallery, Ontario, in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. You see before us a figure looking upward. It's a very interesting integration of the human and the landscape, sort of a unity of nature. There's various lines of force when you look at how the painting was done here with the vertical polar or pole figures, tree figures here, but also the vertical lines here where the person seated, pole here, the slats of wood, and various lines for the landscape. And you'll notice there's almost like an aura-like effect around the landscape, particularly on the mountainous figures, and there's a building of light. Who's one in a finely made work of art to take time to look at it and discover? Now, the Dharana, it's, as you may recognize, a term from yoga and spiritual philosophies of India. It's often referred to in commentaries as a single-pointed concentration. And often it's associated with being Dharana with concentration, with a triplet, dhyana for meditation, which we'll do, and then samadhi, union. And the purpose of mysticism is to bring us into mystical union. By mysticism, we mean the full growing up of the human being, the full realization of what it is to be a human being, and the direct experience of reality, or we could say the direct experience of the divine within, the direct experience of all knowledge and all love, as being one with the one. And in this full maturation, full growing up of the human being, there's a deep sense of purpose, and we want to give back, and that's where the law of service comes in. At this time, I invite you, what we're inspired by the suggestion of the master within, that element of the divine that's within us, that we'll expand on during our presentation. I invite you to a period of meditation, similar to the process of the person before us in this work of art. Looking upward, and we'll ascend upward. We'll clothe our impressions for the ascent. It'll be a way to raise our consciousness to the more expansive experience of consciousness. If you're comfortable now, you wish to close your eyes and just concentrate on your breath. I One of the wonderful things about the Rosicrucian teachings is that they're universal in their nature. They help us to understand all things, all the spiritual traditions of the world that we just spoke of, but the arts and the sciences, human relations, engineering, mathematics, all the liberal arts, all phases of human knowledge. And we can draw on the resources of the master within to get insights in these matters, help guide us. Indeed, we can increasingly identify with the master within as our true nature and guide in life. I wish to have these thoughts in mind as you concentrate on your breath, the incoming and the outgoing of the air. All things manifest through vibration and rhythm. Our breath is among them. And by the concentration on the breath, we can come into a more deeper appreciation of the law of vibration. And what Rosicrucians refer to as the cosmic keyboard, the great system and order of all vibrations. Constituting the unity of existence. Which our contact with the master within allows us to increasingly realize. For the mastery of life, for living in harmony with all. You may wish to extend your exhalation longer than your inhalation to the degree comfortable. That'll automatically bring about the relaxation response by stimulating the vagus nerve that works with the autonomic nervous system. There's many other things we learn, exercises and practices, and study in our weekly monographs or studies of the Rosicrucian order. Just continue to enjoy the gentle rhythm of the breath. You find your mind wandering, just lovingly and gently bring it back to the vibration of the breath. And with each extended exhalation, feel that increased relaxation, calmness, tranquility, equanimity, imperturbability. And you may wish to picture with each incoming of breath the increasing presence of the master within, the divine within. You just let go whatever's going on in the day today. Let's have this as a time of a mini retreat to be re-energized and rested. Just let go now. Anything that we need to return to, we will after the meditation and presentation. Use this as a time to be inwardly strengthened through the divine within, always there to assist us, always there to show us the way, always there to help us heal, become whole, and assist others in this process. The most loving, most meaningful, most encompassing and deepest way of life. You can think of our body as the holy temple, which houses the master within, the divine within. With this inspiring conception in mind, let's continue our meditation period by conducting what Rosicrucians refer to as the overall exercise. I invite you now to concentrate all of your attention, applying the law of concentration, on the tips of your toes. You may even wish to picture a white light or some other light that's color that's conducive to you now. You just feel the invigorating effect of the vital life force, the VLF, particularly the positive polarity of cosmic essence, forming a tingling in the toes. So we concentrate on them and all the wondrous system and order in them, the life force flowing through them, electromagnetic energy of the nervous system, the atoms, the molecules, the electrons, the DNA, the RNA, the tissues, blood flowing, the skin, bones, the hair, and move up through your toes, feeling an exhilaration of the holy temple into the main body of your feet. Grateful for all the actions they afford us and the mastery of life. Through the soles of our feet, feel the pressure of the bed or the floor however we're situated. Tops of our feet, the arch, the ankles, the heel, the sinew. Move up now into the lower legs, increasingly exhilarated by the ascent through the body. All our attention on the lower legs. In this manner, we should appreciate and be in awe of the holy temple of the body, its brilliance, its wisdom, expressed through the master within and the vital life force. Let us rise up now to our knees, back and front, the joint there, bones, the skin, the microscopic structure. Let us move gradually up through our upper legs and thighs, the RNA, the DNA, the molecules, the atoms, the electrons, the positrons, the neutrons, quarks and the quarks, all the wondrous system in order, the blood flowing, electromagnetic energy of our nervous system, the tingling of the vital life force. There's so many other things going on in a increasingly harmonious fashion as we concentrate all our attention as we move through the thigh. Come to our mid-body. Gradually move up towards the solar plexus, a great nexus of nerves that you may wish to give extra concentration on, and into the various vital organs, the lower part of the abdomen, all guided by the subconscious mind, and back of that, the cosmic mind, all in concert with the master within, the divine within. Move up gradually through the spine, back in front of our lower abdomen. Amazed by all the work that's done for us. This concentration can help heal us. If there's a particular part of your body that's in pain, you may wish to spend extra time concentrating on it as we move through the body, the holy temple. Let's gradually move up the spine, ganglia, front of the body, past the navel, through various organs, digestive tract, kidneys and liver, and so forth. Gradually up into the diaphragm, the ribs, a wondrous heart center, appreciating the body both in its material form, but also immaterial form, such as the psychic centers. Concentrate on the heart and continue to slow up as we relax. Take a break between beats, a model for our own living and taking breaks between the discharging of our duties, like the heart. It's great, loving center, great center of kindness, working with the divine within in wondrous ways. We grow and mature. Up to the thymus gland, the upper chest, the ascent of the spine, continuing. Feel the great working of the autonomic nervous system through the polarities of the sympathetic and parasympathetic systems. Gradually reach up to your shoulders. When you reach there, I invite you to refocus your attention on the tips of your fingers, and we'll move through our arms just like we move through our legs. Follow your concentration, the tips of your fingers, and feel the tingling of the vital life force. Wonderful tonic healing effect. The lower part of the fingers, the joints, the sinew, the skin, the bones, the blood flowing. The upper part of the fingers and the thumb, the knuckles, the back and front of the hand. Through the wrists, we gradually move up the lower arms. Toward the elbows, the joint there. All this constituent elements, the atoms and molecules, the cells, mitochondria within the cells being re-energized. Into the upper arm, bicep, calmness, invigoration, the holy temple. Reach up gradually up the armpits, back up to the shoulders where we left off. Let's concentrate now on the base of our neck, nape of the neck, and the nexus of nerves there. Let's rise up through the throat. It's time with the thyroid. It's associated psychic center. The jaw, the tongue, the gums, the teeth, the lips, back of the lower head, inside the head, gradually moving up to the head and the skull, nostrils, the incoming and outgoing of the air there, midsection of the brain, the back of the scalp, the eyes, the eyelids, between the eyes is the place of the third eye. Move back in there towards the pituitary gland and the pineal gland, special glands and psychic centers that we learn exercises for, help stimulate like we're doing now. Feel the tonic and ennobling effect of concentrating on the pituitary gland. And it's important regulatory work throughout the holy temple. And then gradually move the pineal gland, midbrain. Feel as you concentrate on it, how it's dampening down higher and higher rates of vibration. Assist us in experiencing the divine within, the master within. Inspiring tonic effect, the pineal gland stimulation, in conjunction with its mirrored psychic center. Let's continue to dwell well longer on this special center. Feel the increasing intensity of the life force circulating in our body and the increasing presence of the divine within. Not only as concepts, but astonishing, lived experiences. These are experiences we can use to regenerate ourselves and assist in the regeneration of all we come in contact with and all who we come in contact with. Let us move further up in the head, the forehead, the upper part of the brain, the scalp and the hair. Let us continue our meditation period. We've done a breathing exercise, the overall exercise. Let us ascend to the heights of the celestial sanctum, following the instructions of the booklet Liber 777. I'll give you resources on later in this presentation through Karen. I invite you now to say a prayer and invocation. Having applied the law of purification through our breathing exercise and the overall exercise, let us apply the law of purification once again. I invite you to say with me. May the divine essence of the cosmic infuse my being and cleanse me of all impurities of mind and body, that I may enter the celestial sanctum and attune in pureness and in worthiness. So mote it be. I invite you now to picture yourself rising above the holy temple of the body, rising up over your surroundings, going faster and faster above your great nation or country, above your continent, above your hemisphere, even now above the temple of the earth, beautiful blue jewel of a planet. Let's continue to rise up higher and higher, past the sun, our local star, the other planets. Let us continue to rise higher and higher into the Milky Way galaxy and beyond. faster and faster, using great inner spiritual energy of the divine within, the master within, rising higher and higher into the vastness and the suggestion of infinitude of the cosmos. Recently experienced what Rosicrucians referred to as the cosmic. It is the universal intelligence back of the cosmos and all natural and spiritual laws. So intimately known and a part of the master within. And when you reach this high dwelling point, what Rosicrucians refer to as the celestial sanctum, I invite you to dwell there now as you visualize your sacred space. You may wish to model after a temple on earth or a sacred place in nature. Just fill in the sights and sounds, both inwardly, psychically, and outwardly. Make it real, make it vital. Feel the enrichment, feel the rightness of this act. Feel the increasing presence of the master within, assisting in this process. And you've pictured well in your inner mind your celestial sanctum. I invite you just to release the visualization. And dwell in the most profound peace, peace profound. And just let go and be receptive to the divine within. We apply the law of silence and the law of cosmic attunement now. Just feel whatever there is to feel. Feel all there is to feel. And surrender. Before we formally conclude our period of meditation, I invite you to join with me in the sending of metaphysical aid as part of the work and worship of the Rosicrucian Order Anwar. As a silent council, you can join with the Council of Solace, the Grand Lodge, to radiate love and well-being to all those who petition the Grand Lodge and our affiliate bodies, and those you know who are in need. and all sentient beings throughout the cosmos who are in need of guidance and healing. Let us radiate love and well-being to them now, like a great floodlight going out from the depths of our being, assisted by the master within in this activity. Just picture the love and well-being being radiated outward. Fill the cosmos. Enjoy the exhilaration of the effect. Let us proceed now. Just continue to let the radiations flow. At a certain point, I think you'll find there's no longer any conscious effort. When that occurs, just let the flow continue. Continue to be center of your being, the center of the cosmos, in the presence of the master within, and at one with the one. Soon we'll formally conclude our period of sending a metaphysical aid. We'll continue our meditation a while longer. While we formally conclude this period of sending metaphysical aid, we'll be assured that the radiations of love and well-being will continue as we work with the divine within, increasingly identify with the divine within, and we increasingly are the divine within. I invite you to say with me now, if it pleases the cosmic, it is done. So mote it be. Let us dwell a while longer at the heights of the celestial sanctum, feeling their regeneration and the reintegration. Consciousness of the cosmic. And at this time, before we begin our descent, you may wish to express your gratitude, thanks to all those who have taught you well, to all those who have loved you well, all those who have sacrificed well on your behalf, all those who have sent an example for us to emulate through the master within. Now let's begin our descent from the heights of the celestial sanctum through the vastness of space, suggestive of the even greater vastness within us. See in the distance the Milky Way galaxy. As we plunge through it, past myriad stars and stellar phenomena, see in the distance our solar system, great fiery ball of the sun and the earth. Come back to the hemisphere where we left off, the continent, great nation or country, and the geographic locale and our building, home, or office where we left off. Let us stay together following prayer and invocation. Formally conclude. Assured that this cosmic attunement will continue as a way of life. I invite you to say with me now, May the God of my heart sanctify this attunement of self with the celestial sanctum. So mote it be. And when you're ready, you may wish to open your eyes and stretch with your fingers. Feel re-energized, rested. All the more sensing the presence of the divine within, co-agent with the cosmic. Thank you, everyone. Continue now in our presentation, the rise of the Master within two. You'll see before you a rather striking image. Two personages in the foreground and in the background. Beautiful spiritualized city. People going about their lives. You can see figures moving along with a horse and walking on the paths. This work is entitled Town of Zagorsk. It's by the Russian artist Ilya Glazunov. It dates from 1989. It's an oil on canvas work. And in Ilya Glazunov's work, he works to give a deep sense of the spirituality of Russia. If you see by the figures looking forward, you almost sense their spiritualization, the sense of the divine within in them. And they've worked to clothe through themselves and through their communities to spiritualize or emulate their divine contact through the inspiring sacred architecture and sacred way of life all about them. This is what we're called on to do in our divine contacts with the Master within, the divine within, the inner self. With the deep conveyances of love and knowledge that came through those contacts, then to emulate them and to apply that knowledge in our surroundings. In a way, and those inspiring surroundings help us all the more to attune with the divine within. So we have a wonderful, mutually reinforcing circle that's harmonious, healing, and strengthening. In this regard, too, I can mention that questions that we've discussed, for example, how do we work and unite with the Master within? Well, in many respects, we were answering that question. We did a period of meditation and we experienced actually how to do it and how to come back to it. And in a way, with those contacts of meditation, the various exercises we do on a daily and weekly basis through our Rosicrucian studies, that we have the opportunity to have increasing rapport with the divine within. And that connects us with all. In fact, a simple definition of the Master within is simply that it's the inner self. It can also be described as through our period of meditation so earlier, the divine within. You can also describe the Master within as the conscience is the Master's voice. We always have that conscience to stay on the right path, to stay on the mystical path, get back on the mystical path or that path of maturity, and listening to the divine within. We know through science and the Rosicrucian teachings that our body, the holy temple, uses its brilliance through the brain, through the gut, through the heart, to work with the Master within, the vital life force and the psychic centers, to have that sense of deep guidance. Also, a soul force brings into our being a divine intelligence. The aggregate of this intelligence, some refer to as the psychic body. And this intelligence is our personal master, our first and foremost primary master. And again, because mysticism is about direct experience, about the love, about the art and science of love, most important master is the Master within. All those who have shown mastery in life have come to it by working with the Master within. And behooves us to do likewise. And how could it be any other way? You think about how we're maturing and growing in life. We have to wade in and experience these things firsthand, not rely on others. Indeed, an important part of the Rosicrucian teachings is development of self-reliance. Another important part is development of character. When our character is well developed, we're a more purified vessel, fully realized the divine within. Just like you may have noticed when we were meditating, there was an intensification of the flow of the vital life force and various flows in our body. Those are always going on. But by being silent and being present, concentration of the breath, you realize what's going on always. And also, we charge those flows in a healthy way so we feel that flow in an intensified way. I know many of you are increasingly experiencing that flow in the wake of our meditation period and its momentum. So unite with the master within through the various spiritual exercises and psychic exercises through our teachings, through visualization that we applied, our meditation, various meditation exercises we did and more that we learned through our teachings, but we applied some of them already in this presentation. Increasingly unite with the master within by humility, being open to learn. Just like, for example, in the elder that's before us, look into her blue eyes, the depth of her being. A life well lived, one that's had various challenging experiences. Coming into a cosmic appreciation and working to express that in her attire and in the environment she grew up in. And passing that on to the next generation, for example, to a granddaughter that may be before or a youth. They can pass that on just like the elder in her youth had it passed on by her elders down through the generations. Now, another question is, does the master within guide and attract us to people and places for us to learn and to serve? I think in your experience, you find that a very strong, resounding yes. Now, sometimes we're attracted to people, we wonder, I had a hunch that I should go there. Well, they may say, they had a hunch. You don't normally come there. I had an opportunity to meet, and we had an opportunity to have a conversation and learn more about life through them. It may be brief, but it may be highly memorable. We also have the intensification to our awareness of our conscience and how to act, what to do, where to go. I know many of you have felt after your affiliated body experiences, there was Rosicrucians, very intense love afterwards, even during times, like almost so intense it could be hard to bear. And we know that the master within is declaring itself. And that intense love that's within us is very purifying. And our autonomic nervous system increasingly gets used to that cosmic love, intense love. At first, it can seem very strong for the holy temple, but over time, it adjusts to it. The autonomic nervous system, in a certain poetic way, was made to receive that intense love that is through the master within. Now, it's important to realize, too, that through that love, we come into a great sense of balance and harmonium. Harmonium is an important concept, or harmony, for the Rosicrucians on all levels of our being. In our deep spiritual nature, it's the experience of ecstasy. And we get more used to the experience of ecstasy, and it allows us to go through challenging times more easily because we can draw on that deeply uplifting, that rapture, that ecstasy, that experience of harmonium, and allows us to come back into them in an even greater and stronger way, as suggested by the elder before us, holding the staff of the birch tree. Now, I maybe wondered, why do we have to go through challenging experiences? The essential experience is that we have to learn to master the law of duality first. And then we can master the law of unity. We can't jump to the law of unity on its own. We have to have these purging experiences that have to clear up the subconscious mind, replace the laws that are there, new laws that are life affirming. Then our contact through to the cosmic mind is all the more clear, all the more accessible. One of the ways that we know that we've contacted the master within is that by the conscience in its guidance, but also through clear and penetrating insights that can be distilled in an alchemical way, often into one short sentence. It can also come through the experience of ecstasy or tremendous love, experience of all knowingness, experience of being everywhere at once, seeing deep down in everyone that they're doing their very best and you have a tremendous love for them beyond what the outer self can do. It may be also asked, do our encounters with the master within shake and transform our very nature? I think you'll find that the answer is a resounding yes. Steve suggests this to us, a work entitled Seeley. It's by the renowned artist Elizabeth Catlett, who lived from 1915 to 2012. This is a lithograph. And it's from dates from 1986, and you can see it's signed in the lower right. Catlett was commissioned to make this, along with certain other works to do with the opening of the film, The Color Purple. I know for many of you, that film and the novel by Alice Walker are much, much beloved. Seeley realized that to bring out the divine within, and when she narrates her life through painfully honest letters to the divine, which are depicted here, and you can see the auric-like effect around her holy temple and also through the letters. Just in our Rosicrucian lessons, we're taught to keep a notebook or its equivalent and write out our impressions. But also with sharing with others our impressions, it can help them make them real and more vital, just like Celia in her writing, in her increasing realizing through the very challenging experiences of her life and her community and her nation, and the racism and the learning of growing that she had to face and deal with, and the misogyny. She was purified, became increasing rapport of the strength, the divine within that knows no ill health, no ill feeling. It was the great harmony. It was the greatest strength. And it can give that to regenerate all that comes in contact, just as this character increasingly realized her divine nature. And we can say that as a master within transforms the very foundation for ourselves, we can actually think of our deepest foundation, our foundation as the master within. Otherwise, we'll find that we're not well founded. We're founded of our foundations in sand. And in our experiences of the master within, we glimpse what could be described as the fully mature human being. And we just take those impressions to live them out. I think that's a very helpful way to think of it. We're experiencing the fully mature human being, which means we're experiencing the divine. Now, the inner self knows harmony. The divine within knows harmony. And we can draw on it when we're feeling anxious, feeling overwhelmed, or ill. We go deeper into mind this way, beyond even the subconscious mind. We have various exercises to work with the subconscious set of good laws and principles in it and habits. And then we go into even greater understanding and expansion of awareness, come into the cosmic consciousness, a life-altering experience. And through that, it would behoove us to emulate it and show it to others and encourage others to come to that profound state, the full maturation of the human being. And also, through the experience of cosmic consciousness, we increasingly have that rapport with it. We increasingly have the presence of the divine within. We increasingly realize that we are the master within. And with the inner self then increasingly infused in the self, suggested by the artwork of Seeley for us, we realize that the self-consciousness has back of it the cosmic consciousness, that everything is of that consciousness. This is the question often people wonder about, well, do I maintain my self-identity? We infuse the self-identity, just like water being soaked up in a sponge. or an iron being heated up in a blacksmith shop. In this way, we get accustomed and into the habit of working with the master within, because it is truly who we are. The breathing exercise we did will help, and never to be underestimated. And the momentum we build up from our Rosicrucian exercise, including meditation, done regularly, will have us increasingly, often to our astonishment, the rapport of the master within. And then we can wade in and embrace these experiences and find them ennobling, enriching, deeply meaningful. We operate with the Rosicrucian laws and principles. We find them not only concepts, but living vital realities. We live then in a more clarified way. Things are less mysterious. Things become more realized and transformed for us. Rosicrucians sometimes use the analogy of polishing the mirror, that our soul personality that reflects the one soul within us and the contact with the master within. We're polishing it. In that way, we increasingly radiate the love and well-being of the master within, the divine within, as a way of life. The autonomic nervous system, the endocrine glands, the psychic centers, the entire holy temple come into their full activation when the master within reigns here. In a way, I think it's part of the inspired expression of the artist before us. You may think of the powerful experiences you've had of your subconscious mind, but then we can sense back of it an even more expansive mind through the Rosicrucian schematic diagram mental process and through our experience in meditation. The experience of the cosmic mind is even greater, even deeper foundation. Sometimes it's mentioned that mysticism is irrational, but I think it's far from that. In mysticism, that deep experience of the master within, we come into a great intelligence that knows all and handles all at once. And that's where we look to it for inspiration when there's challenges in our life. Indeed, as part of this, it's true the shortcomings of the outer self will become more apparent, just like Seeley experienced. But we have all that strength, that increased optimism, the laws and principles, to see the challenges as stepping stones, as gifts in living, as part of the adventure in living, not something that we have to just simply suffer through, but learn the lesson from it, mature, and grow up through it. The final question I wanted to ask before we conclude will be, what is the relationship of the master within concept to the spiritual philosophy of the ages? Well, it's imbued throughout them. You can think of, for example, in various traditions, the Rosicrucian order is not a religion. It helps us greatly understand all things, including if we have a chosen religion or not. But the Christ or the Christ principle is a way to express the master within. In Quakerism, the tradition of Christianity that the Rosicrucians helped build up through its teachings, and others were inspired by, just George Fox was inspired by Jacob Boehme, the traditional Rosicrucians' teachings. That the inner light of Quakerism is a way to express essentially the master within. Also in 18th century France, figures like Louis-Claude de Saint-Martin and Hugh and others, speaking of the good companion, or certain related terms that we come to know, is the master within. The idea of the spiritual marriage of the outer self and the inner self, the alchemical marriage, is coming into the realization of the master within, the full action of the master within in concert with the outer self, and thereby one can be one with the one, experience the divine consciousness. Also, the good mind spoken of by the peacemaker of the Haudenosaunee of the Six Nations of the Iroquois Confederacy is one way to express contact with the master within and the cosmic consciousness. In Buddhism, this expression of the various forms of the Buddha or the Buddhahood is the expression of the master within. So we see that essentially through traditions we could keep speaking of spiritual philosophies in a way, and what I've mentioned so far is that there's essentially one story of humanity, and that is the rise of the master within. And at the heart of the Rosicrucian teachings of mysticism, the full maturation of the human being. So by way of conclusion, I'll mention that the concept of the master within, the inner self or the divine within, is central to the Rosicrucian way of life. which is unique yet universal for each student. And the term the master within, the inner self, divine within, while they're equivalent, they give us different perspectives, different angles. And it's always helpful to have that in our studies to come into a greater realization. And we've continued to explore this topic through a series of questions. And we did it also experientially when we guided you through meditation and we had experience of the master within in a variety of ways. And so we've learned more about how to work with and unite with the master within and learn more about our true nature and guide in life. In this way, we've continued to explore Rosicrucian laws and principles for our well-being and increased capacity of service. Thank you, everyone.